Today we'll be looking at the Nichomacheon Ethics by Aristotle. This was created into 10 books. So first, Aristotle begins by laying down the investigation at hand. What is the highest human good? He determined that it's happiness, because this is the most complete good, and has to thrash out what this means in practical terms. Toward the end of this book, he turns to the subject of virtue, since it's in virtuous action that humans find happiness in life. Now, Book 2. We get an overview of virtue, both intellectual and moral, and learn that we aren't really born with more virtues. While we may have natural dispositions toward particular characteristics, we need education and habituation to make them stick. Aristotle warns us that this is no theoretical discussion. He's going to teach us how to be good. He describes virtue in terms of a mean or middle way between two extremes, excess and deficiency, both of which are vices, and gives a quick rundown of traits according to a spectrum. We learn that it's hard to be virtuous because it takes a lot of work to find the mean of each characteristic. Book 3. Aristotle opens with a discussion of voluntary and involuntary behavior, which segues into an explication of choice. He describes choices as voluntary, originating within ourselves, and as a product of deliberation. Choice is different from wish, which is a kind of longing or desire. In each of these cases, we have to apply virtue and reason to make correct choices and to do good things. While there are certain conditions that get us off the hook, like ignorance, it's only a temporary excuse from personal responsibility of our actions. Aristotle here begins in-depth coverage of each moral virtue, starting with the courage and moderation and including the vices that oppose them. Book 4. Aristotle deals with the virtues concerning money here, liberality and magnificence. Liberality refers to the inclination to spend money properly and on the right things, being open-handed for good reason. Magnificence is like liberality, but on a grand scale. A magnificent person has coin and isn't afraid to spend lots of it on something for the common good. The professional virtues are next. Greatness of soul and ambition. Both are considered people who know their own worth, even if others don't generally find them pleasant. Both those who possess gentleness and friendliness are pleasant, because they are moderate in temper and both to people respectively. Book 5. This book is dedicated entirely to justice and the crown jewel of virtues. After defining what and who is just and unjust, Aristotle delineates two types of justice, corrective and distributive, and explains why justice only exists for people who live in community with each other. He introduces the necessity of equality, proportion, and commensurability in the economy of the community, and how they make mutual exchange and therefore life possible. Book 6. We move into the intellectual virtues: art, craftsmanship or skill; science, which is hardcore knowledge; prudence, wisdom, and intellect or reason. He defines each virtue, beginning with prudence, the ability to deliberate well. Wisdom is the comprehension of universal and unchanging knowledge. And now Book 7. Aristotle devotes this book to a discussion of self-restraint, or lack thereof. He opens with difficult questions, such as: can a good person lack self-restraint? Can they be knowers? Does self-restraint apply to all pleasures or just some? But lack of restraint is only an error, not vice. People who can lack self-restraint can be cured by. Aristotle concludes that it's important for lawgivers to understand about pain and pleasure, since they have to respond to those who transgress in response to these things. Now, Book 8. This is all about friendship, which Aristotle first defines and breaks down to three types: the useful, the pleasant, and the complete. Book 9. There's more drama to be had in friendships, especially when the people involved expect different things from each other, and neither is satisfied. Aristotle also addresses the difficulty of giving people things, such as gifts, trust, respect, as deserve, and of what happens when your friend changes for the worse. And Book 10, Aristotle wraps up with the importance of pleasure and how it might in fact, be a great good. He points out that everything in nature tends towards it and away from pain, although it can be difficult to figure out the right things to enjoy and the right amounts to enjoy them. Pleasure is a necessary part of happy existence. Thank you.